Welcome back to the channel. Last video we were looking at CHOP, aka Chaz, the autonomous zone. And since then there's still been a lot of rioting going on in the United States. I haven't really been keeping up with it too much. It's probably funded by Soros as they were funding them before. That's what a lot of people are saying. I'm not really looking into it. I'm just like kind of jaded about this stuff right now. And I've been keeping up more with cryptocurrencies, trying to make sure that I can pay my bills and all that good stuff. I've officially completed my move over to North Carolina, got out of New York, and just in time because right now in New York City they're doing checkpoints, and meanwhile Cuomo's begging the wealthy to return. You shot yourself in the foot, Cuomo. You sent the COVID infected patients into the nursing homes, you inflated these numbers. I don't know what the hell you were. A lot of people are trying to get out of New York City. I mean, it only makes sense. I'm sure it'll bounce back eventually, but it's time to get out of New York City, especially if you weren't making that much money to begin with. If you have some money left to get out, then you should get out. Just try to start fresh somewhere else, because it's going to be tough in New York City moving forward. Just with the real estate crisis alone, a lot of these big office buildings that people were renting out, like Chase, paying a lot of the property taxes, and now the state and the city, they're not getting those taxes. So that's really going to hurt the infrastructure in New York City, which is already ridiculous and falling apart. So it's really just like a rotting corpse at this time, rotting carcass. The reason why I think crypto might be a good investment is because the government can always come and seize your physical assets. They can seize your dollars, they can seize your gold, they can seize your silver. With fiat, it's run by central banking, so you've got cronyism, and people that benefit the most when they print more money are the people closest to the printer, the banks and stuff like that. And whoever's close to the Fed, big corporations, they're getting, they get these loans, these these bailouts, and meanwhile the average citizen doesn't really get much of a bailout. We got like a $1,200 check. I mean, come on now. We never even got something like that back in 2008. So and now it's even worse, like 10 times worse of economic impact. And we only get $1,200. Supposedly we're supposed to get some more. I'll be looking forward to that. Until then, I'm trying to make some gains with some crypto. I've also put some more fiat into gold and silver, but prices are going up. Back to cryptocurrencies though, here's the thing. A quarter of US households are either unbanked or underbanked. And I've definitely lived through this myself. I'm not even having a checking account at some point. I think a lot of people, especially in an urban environment, that's how they're kind of starting out, unless their parents set up an account for them or something like that. When I first started working, I would go to the check cashing business, check cashing place, and I would cash my check, and there'd be a high fee. There'd be like, I don't know, like a 7% fee, maybe more. And also with the similar kind of business, where you cash those checks, you can also get like a payday loan. I never did that, but some people do that. The high interest rates, and there's some people that get things on layaway. They'll just get a dresser or a TV, and no money down, but you pay like $15 a month for like 10 years or some shit like that. So it's expensive to be poor. That's a big thing that we should realize. And when you have cryptocurrency, you have the opportunity to have all the full custody of your crypto in your wallet. You can have it digitally, you can have it on your phone, you can have it on your computer, you can even have it in what's called cold storage. You can put it on a piece of paper, just write down your passphrase or whatever. Even if you could remember it, commit it to memory, you could go to other countries and carry potentially billions of dollars. If you have a lot invested in crypto, you could potentially have billions of dollars attached to a phrase, a 12-word phrase. So it's very, and it's also, there's a lot of potential because all of the financial services that we currently have is all through central banking. And with what's called DeFi, decentralized finance, you're able to do things like lend money, take out money on a loan. Um, you could even decide court cases. There's this thing called Aragon Court, which I'm a part of. I recently became a juror of Aragon Court. And if you have a high amount of the ANJ token, the Aragon Court token, and you're in the Aragon Court as a juror, you can decide on cases and get rewards on that. There's staking, there's pools, there's all kinds of different things you can do with DeFi, and it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. It's very captivating, even for someone who's like traditionally not into finance or anything like that. But as I get older, I'm thinking about savings and like investing. Like, how can I, create passive income and also have some kind of savings? So, the urgency I'm really feeling right now because of the dollar inflation that's going on with the printing that's going on. So that's why I'm trying to really diversify my portfolio. And, it's rough because I also need to get a car soon. And now I'm thinking, what am I going to do with that? Should I try to like sit on it for a while? How long can I sit on it for before, I run into trouble? So, because it's not really easy to get around where I am, not like it was in New York. So I need a car basically. I mean, some places I can get to by public transportation, but a lot of places I can't. And, where there's jobs, there's not always public transportation. But the big thing about cryptocurrency, my big concern is this whole idea of like the mark of the beast, one world currency, having currency that can be controlled. Even Bitcoin can be controlled, even though it's considered digital gold, even though, it's decentralized, it's not run by anybody. There's something that's called a 51% attack that can happen that can force a fork in the Bitcoin protocol. So what that means is if somebody spams like a certain amount of transactions at the same time, then they can cause the whole blockchain to go off somewhere else. So think of the blockchain as like, a physical chain where all these transactions are listed. It's a ledger, they're keeping track of things. But then if you overflood it with transactions, it can change what happened in the past. So you can potentially scam out a lot of money if you were to do the 51% attack. Just the other day, Ethereum Classic was a victim of a 51% attack. So this is, concerning because, who's to say that, the money printers can't just print billions of dollars and then buy out all the Bitcoin and then do a 51% attack. So it's very risky, I would say. Even Bitcoin, but now you have the second coin, which is known as like the grandma. You got the grandpa Bitcoin, the grandma crypto, which is Ethereum. And Ethereum is the foundation for decentralized finance, DeFi. And, we talked about a lot of the different services that you can do on blockchain thanks to DeFi. The only thing right now is with Ethereum is that the transaction costs are way too high. The gas fees, which are the transaction costs. But Ethereum is looking very promising, and the services that are being built on Ethereum and newer up and coming networks like Cosmos are looking really good, looking, like there's some potential to make some money in a number of different ways. And I've been playing around with, some of these different services and some of these different altcoins, and it seems legit. The only real negative is it's the transaction fees that brings it down. I looked up how much gas I was paying. There's a site that you can go to where you can look at all that you spent on transactions, and I spent way more than I thought I did. So that's definitely a problem because you're trying to make a profit with this. So that definitely cuts into the profit when you're doing DeFi. But the potential to make the money back is not guaranteed, but it's, if you can, it can be potentially pretty big. If you can get 100x on a coin and potentially make thousands of dollars, that would be great. And then it kind of cancels out the gas fee, right? But here's the thing: centralized finance, they screw us all the time. For example, in your checking account, if you go under a certain amount, they charge you more money. That's another example of how it's expensive to be poor. Like, what kind of crap is that? Like, I don't have money, and they're going to charge me even more money? Things are going to be done a little bit differently with DeFi, and I'm interested to find out how that's going to happen. What's going to happen. You could even have games on the blockchain now, thanks to Ethereum and what's called NFTs. I've got a friend that sells art on NFTs on the blockchain. You should check him out. The Pixelist. He's on Twitter as well, so you should just search the Pixelist, or you can look up Conscious on Twitter. So this is definitely some interesting times that we're in, and we're 8 months into 2020. So much crazy stuff has happened so far, and it's only just begun. It's an election year, and that's when a lot of crazy stuff happens, and it's only August. We're hearing that August is going to be hot, and always look out for that October surprise right before November. So a lot of different things could happen. One thing's for sure is that fiat is looking like shaky ground, so you might want to invest in something that will hold value. If you want to be really safe, gold is the safest thing you could do. Gold and silver. You want to make sure you have different denominations of gold and silver. If you needed to trade a little, or if you needed to trade a lot, you've got it. And you could do that. Invest in food. Shelf-stable food is a good thing to invest in, because you always need food. You always need to eat. If you're able to farm, investing in heirloom seeds is good. If you know how to farm, you have the land, and if you could just grow some crops if you really needed to, and like maybe even start a little business with a nice little seed bank in a time of crisis. We got to really think flexibly, like how are we going to sustain ourselves, pay the bills, and keep ourselves fed. So you got to be flexible, but I would say diversify what you've got going on. Diversify what you've got going on. Make sure that you're prepared for all the different scenarios that you can be prepared for. One book that I really want to recommend is Strategic Relocation by Joel Skousen. That's a good book to look at and to study, so that you're prepared for the future, because sometimes you can't really stay where you are. Like, for example, I had to get out of New York City. And don't forget to like and subscribe and put on the notification bell. I'm not going to bother you too much, but when I do have a new video, I want you to know that it's out. All right, take care.